Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're going to completely unpack the hidden mechanics of commercial banking and, more importantly, show you how to leverage these services to their absolute full potential. For most of us, a bank is really just an app on our phone. Or actually, maybe it's just a building we occasionally visit to use an ATM. But behind the scenes, it is a massive, incredibly complex machine that literally powers the entire economy. So today, we're popping the hood. So let's really dive into this. A bank is so much more than just a place to stash your money. It's this dynamic, fully interconnected economic engine. Think about it. Every single service they offer is basically a gear turning another gear. When you deposit your paycheck, you're not just locking cash in a vault somewhere. You are actively fueling a system that builds businesses, funds major infrastructure, and keeps global trade moving. It's huge.
Here's our blueprint for today's explainer. We'll be doing a quick guided tour through the bank's core primary functions, and then we'll get into its really surprising secondary support systems.
All right, starting right off with Section 1, understanding the fundamental blueprint of commercial banking. The classic textbook framework we're exploring today is essentially a split. On one side, you have your primary functions, like deposits and loans. But then on the exact opposite side of the business, you have your secondary functions, agency and utility services. And honestly, to really master your relationship with a bank, you absolutely need to understand both halves of this architecture.
Let's kick things off with the first half of that primary engine, accepting deposits. This is where the bank brings capital in, and it's the raw fuel that powers everything else.
Picture this as a sort of split screen in your mind. Deposits basically run at two completely different speeds. On the left side, you've got time deposits. Think of these like a slow hourglass. It's structured savings that eventually turn into a fixed deposit safely locked away in a vault. Or maybe it's like a piggy bank that you're slowly building up through monthly recurring deposits. These are designed for the long game. But then, on the right side, you've got the instant, super liquid world of demand deposits. This is a hand pulling cash out of a savings account at an ATM, or a business owner writing endless checks with literally zero limits from a current account. Two totally different speeds of money, but both managed under the exact same roof. So the real trick here is just knowing which tool to pull from the toolbox. Fixed and recurring accounts, they reward you with a higher interest rate, just for leaving your money alone for a set period. Saving and current accounts, on the flip side, are all about easy, everyday access. Current accounts, which are mostly for businesses, don't even have restrictions on deposits and withdrawals, which keeps commerce flowing without any friction at all.
Moving on to Section 3, granting loans. This is the other side of that primary engine, where the bank puts all that collected capital to work in the real world.
Imagine a bank officer signing off on a lending agreement. That single signature can set vastly different timelines into motion. A business might need a long-term loan stretching out over 5+ years just to construct a massive new factory. But hey, sometimes needs are immediate, right? A short-term 15 to 60-day calendar might just be a business checking account dipping slightly into the negative, using an overdraft facility just to make sure payroll clears this Friday. The whole lending engine is incredibly flexible. It can handle a decades-long vision just as easily as a 2-week cash crunch. And aside from your standard loans and overdrafts, banks also offer these really clever short-term advances. A great example is discounting bills of exchange. This is a total game changer because it instantly frees up cash flow for businesses that are just waiting around for client payments. If you hold a bill of exchange, which is basically a formal IOU from a client, the bank will discount it, meaning they give you the cash today and then they recover the full amount from your client when the due date rolls around. It's just a brilliant way to keep working capital moving. All right, stepping away from the vaults and the loans, we're now entering Section 4, the bank's secondary functions. Let's start with agency services. You can actually think of the bank here as your own personal digital assistant. Maybe picture a robot dressed in a neat little suit. In a totally automated workflow, your assistant pulls money right from your account to pay your utility bills perfectly on time. Then it's actively buying shares on a glowing stock market chart, handling your entire portfolio management. And finally, it takes your old, regular paper share certificates and securely converts them into digital ones and zeros. That's a process called dematerialization. So you aren't just banking here, you're literally delegating your financial chores. Next up, Section 5 brings us to utility facilities. This goes way beyond basic money management. These utility functions perfectly capture the bank's dual nature. On one hand, you can literally walk into a vault and place precious gold jewelry inside a secure, heavy iron locker box for ultimate physical security. But then, if you shift over to the intellectual side of the bank, you might find a clerk printing out a comprehensive project feasibility report. Firms actually use these reports to get necessary funding from the market or to secure crucial government clearances. So, from guarding physical gold to generating intellectual business capital, the utility functions are just incredibly diverse. Which brings us to our final section, your bank's true value. After touring this entire blueprint, I think it's time to reevaluate our relationship with our own banks. If you think back to the foundational textbook definition of a bank, it's those four little words at the end, and other related services, that actually matter the most. That's what transforms a simple vault into a powerhouse partner for your personal or business growth. I mean, the deposits and loans, those are expected, but the portfolio management, the project reports, the overdraft facilities, the digital automation, that's the stuff that separates a truly great banking relationship from a mediocre one. So, I'm going to leave you with this somewhat provocative thought to chew on the next time you log into your banking app or walk into a physical branch. Are you just letting your money sit passively in the vault, or are you actively commanding the entire engine? You've got the full blueprint now. You know exactly what a commercial bank can do. Now it's up to you to put all those gears to work for your own financial future. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer. Keep learning, and I will see you next time.